What's up with y'all? Welcome back to another reaction video. I'm Ende.
I'm Ollie.
Today we got the unspeakable horrors of the deep sea. We all know Ollie, like I always tell her that she can't swim because literally I've never seen her swim before. Literally.
But I have tons of times and I can swim multiple different ways.
Yeah, I believe it when I see it.
But I've never seen you swim.
You never seen me swim?
No. And I've showed him videos of me swimming. He is yet to cough up any evidence.
It's AI.
All he says is, you can't swim, you can't swim.
It's
projecting AI. All day long.
Oh yeah?
Because he knows he can't swim and he's insecure about it.
Oh! Have you ever drowned before?
No.
You never drowned before?
No. Have you? Because you're talking like you have.
I have.
Okay then.
Okay, but
Case
this is way before I knew how to swim.
Exactly, because you still don't know how. But let's get into the video. I hope you guys are doing good today.
No.
You probably heard me say that I'd rather eat 10 pounds of Popeye's biscuits with no drink than ever go out into the ocean. Well, I'd rather ride cross-country on a bike with a hot grill for a seat than spend half a second in the deep sea. There's a lot of living nightmares and paralysis that come to life if you sink deep enough. And the megalodon is not one of them. You'll often hear this thing about how the prehistoric apex predator never got discontinued, it's just chilling a step above hell in the abyss. This is cap. For three good reasons. One, there just isn't enough food to sustain a 60-foot you to the natural order. Two, if nature did keep the same jumbo jaws that peaked in the Pliocene, we at least would have seen a body by now. And number three, why do y'all want this to be alive so bad? I promise you there's way worse things down there. Like, I would evacuate my bowels if I ever saw a giga great white shark. But put me in front of a T-posing squid and I'm shitting more bricks than the entire city of Newark. The big fin squid is easily one of the most disturbing things alive as I'm saying this.
You've never seen that before?
It's a T-posing predator with arms estimated to max out at just under 30.
Ew, it's like a spider.
Scientists believe the big fin catches bodies by dragging those arms, which can be easily 20 times its own body length, along the ocean floor like trawling nets and feeding on whatever poor soul accidentally bumps into.
Oh, it's like a jellyfish.
You're gonna hear me say believe or we think a lot.
It's like a jellyfish squid.
We don't know a whole lot about them.
Those other videos made it look weird.
Almost every sighting and virtually every specimen studied were either juveniles or paralarvae. We have no way of knowing exactly what their final form could look like.
That was a kid? That was a kid version? Like the little kid? Oh my God. See, that's why I say, I know there's some crazy shit in the ocean. I do not care, bro. Probably krakens and all types of shit like that, bro. We already got the giant octopus.
Yeah, you don't know what's down there, bro. And I don't want to know.
I want to know, though.
I don't. I
mean, obviously, I don't want to go in the submarine down there and see, but I ain't throwing no shots, I'm just saying. but I know there's crazy things down there. It literally has to be, bro. It's so huge, dude. It's like outer space in a way, I guess. The ocean. It's a lot of cool
it's the
things.
Majority of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, I know that there has to be some.
We just don't know what's down there.
Some
could be a whole world down there. Right? It could be a mermaid civilization.
Atlantis?
No.
For all we know, this could be Junior.
Whatever,
we just haven't seen
ugly.
Mama Big Fin yet. Who would have thought that just putting elbows on a squid would instantly turn it into the spawn of Satan? Oh, and if you thought the big fin was just this slow, passive floating predator, then you're seriously underestimating the ocean's ability to massacre your mental health. And if you're curious,
looks like a
this
parasite.
video is taken about 7,000 feet down in the Gulf of Mexico. But considering they're believed to be the deepest living squids at about 20,000 feet, I have a theory. This is a juvenile, and the big boys are the ones shacking it up down in the crotch of the ocean. But good news, the big fin probably only feeds on small fish and crustaceans. Bad news, there are squids big enough to beef with the biggest predators on the planet. And the biggest predator on the planet that isn't a disgraced former YouTuber is the sperm whale, which on its own would have to be one of the most traumatizing things to witness during their 2-hour hunting expeditions down in the deep sea. Well, the tankiest carnivore on Earth regularly runs fades with the giant squid. And by giant, we're talking about calamari growing to an estimated 40 feet long. Not only are they themselves predators that hunt using 20-foot tentacles, they're opportunistic cannibals that would 100% murk their entire family reunion for some calories. Now, nature high-key screwed up their character design. They have a donut-shaped brain and an esophagus running through it, meaning if they swallow something big enough, not only do they run the risk of choking to a flatline, they can also factory reset their entire personality through severe brain damage, which is why they mitigate this by shredding their victims with a razor-sharp beak and what is essentially a tongue with teeth, the radula. That beak is such a weapon that you'll rarely see a sperm whale that hasn't been tattooed during a struggle with a giant squid. And while the plus-size cephalopod usually loses in a war with the whale, they do not make it easy. But the most disturbing thing about them is that eye. Giant squids have the most physically imposing eye in nature, with it being roughly the size of a soccer ball. Contrary to popular belief, huge eyes don't exactly help it see further, but it does mean they're terrifyingly good at noticing objects giving off their own light, which is a lifesaver since when their biggest optosperm whale is on the hunt, modern-day Leviathan disturbs glowing creatures like jellyfish and crustaceans who flash in response. Having eyes as big as our heads means the giant squid can detect and use those flashes to avoid becoming a corpse. But that also means that if you ever go swimming in the Giga Squid's area code, the flashes you'd create mean that while you might not see it, the same animal that does its own kind dirty would know exactly where you are. And honestly, there's only one thing that could be worse than getting stalked by a school bus-sized headfoot. There's another squid with hunting tactics so spiritually upsetting, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and use a lifeline.
The Humboldt squid, also known as the red devil. I'm Lindsay, by the way. Hi. Humboldt squid are found in the eastern Pacific Ocean, typically between 600 to 2,300 feet below the surface of the ocean. And their nickname comes from the way they use their pigment cells called chromatophores to communicate. You're probably familiar with chromatophores through videos of different cephalopods using them to change color, blending into their surroundings, and even dreaming. And Humboldt squid notably use them to turn bright red when they're aggravated, hence the nickname red devil. It's very red. They're also extremely predatory and have been known to act aggressively towards scuba divers on rare occasion, which becomes a bit more terrifying when I tell you that they can get to 8 feet long and 100 pounds. Now you might be thinking, Lindsay, that is not that big. What about the giant squid and the colossal squid that can both get to like 40 feet long? Well, I haven't told you the best part yet. The Humboldt squid is known to live and hunt in groups of up to 10, no, up to 100, no, 1,000? Yes, in groups of over 1,000. 1,000 squid. That's about 990 too many if you ask me. While hunting in these groups, they use their chromatophores to communicate with each other, coordinating movements and attacks, allowing them to take down larger prey, dragging them into the depths until they go unconscious. Scientists have identified some of these communication patterns, as you can see in this little chart, but still don't know exactly what any of them mean. But regardless, that sounds like one of the worst ways to be unalived in the ocean. Oh wait, this isn't a TikTok collaboration. That sounds like one of the worst ways to die in the ocean.
So as you can see, whether it's being confronted by a Humboldt block party or squaring up with a live-action Kraken, there are many aspects to the deep sea that end up with you putting your therapist up a tax bracket. And a lot of that's because of this cute little thing known as deep sea gigantism. The idea that the cold temperature, the dissolved oxygen, and the lack of predatory predators allow some animals to escalate to the biggest and most terrifying versions of themselves.
Wait, what do you say?
Fucking disgusting. That thing was real, boy.
To escalate to the biggest and most terrifying versions of themselves. Exhibit A, the Japanese spider crab, which can measure 12 feet across from
Why do they all look like spiders?
Only thing worse than a giant spider crab is a giant crab spider. This is an Antarctic sea spider, a dinner-sized demon spawn that hunts by sucking the life out of its prey through its proboscis. Now technically, they're not actual spiders. But also I imagine most people watching technically don't give a f, especially since this one looks like it identifies as a face hugger. Then there's a giant isopod, which is essentially an aquatic cockroach big enough to be cradled like a baby. No clue why you would though. And if you're looking for a truly supersized animal crossing, the oarfish should be on your list. The giant oarfish can grow to well over 30 feet long, and there have even been claims of those in the neighborhood of 50 feet. Proof that back in the day when we had stories about sea monsters,
leave the shit in the ocean.
Also, if you caught that pun earlier, we're friends now. But with deep sea gigantism and the endless expansive ocean acting as a canvas for Shaitan to practice his art, if you dive deep enough, there be monsters. For example, this is an animal. It's a group of animals joined together in something like a hive mind. So we're not talking about it. We're talking about them. And siphonophores like this come in many forms. Like the Portuguese man-o-war armed with venom to ensure that the excruciating experience of meat is permanently etched into your brain. And there's a Priodubia, a giant siphonophore that can flex a total length of up to 160 feet. And even though it's a collective group of tiny animals, its length could humble a blue whale, making it technically the longest creature on the planet, or at best a modest second, since the bootlace ribbon worm has been reported to reach 180 feet in length. And it's toxic because the ocean, and of course it is, with nasty smelling mucus potent enough to life deprive the crabs it likes to eat. Like I said, whether it's Lucifer's tapeworm or a flying spaghetti creature, there be monsters. And it gets so much worse than a giant worm. Because as terrifying as the deep sea is, it's also nasty. And there might not be anything more repulsive than the hagfish. This loogie linguini feeds on the rotting corpses and carcasses that sink down into its domain. And since they don't have any actual teeth, the graveyard dog feeds by sliding into an opening and eating the decomposing body from the inside out. And you would think that something that eats like a casket wouldn't have to worry about getting put on a plate itself.
Damn.
Again, you're giving the ocean too much credit. As self-defense, the hagfish will
disgusting.
sweat buckets of slime, a phlegm jacket that's thick enough to clog the gills of anything hungry enough to F around and unlucky enough to find out. To the point where this is the end game of a truck transporting hagfish on the highway, crashing. Now, you've definitely seen this picture before, but have you ever stopped and asked
That's what
yourself
that is.
what
I've
they
seen
were
this
doing here in
before.
the first place? You remember how I said nothing that eats like a hagfish should ever have to worry about anything? Well, simple. For these hagfish, their final destination were dinner plates in Asian countries such as South Korea, where they're considered a delicacy. Now, I'm not one to judge other cultures, but we seem to have a habit of constantly trying to eat all the things nature went out of its way to tell us not to. But one thing you won't see as a main course is something
That's fucking
ironically named
disgusting.
after a
You've seen it
fruit.
on the
The sea
freeway.
cucumber is like the hagfish in that its meal prep consists of all the things we normally flush, burn, or bury. All the soul evacuated bodies that sink down to the ocean floor instantly get put on the cucumber's grocery list. It's a literal bottom feeder, and I mean that since they'll also make a meal out of feces. But like with vultures, if Thanos had beef with sea cucumbers, the world would become an infinitely more disgusting place. That's not the only way sea cucumbers contribute to society. They're also often used as a protective bunker for fish.
This is gonna give me weird dreams.
Let's just say they break in through the back door. Oh yeah, it's a violation of the highest natural order. It gets worse when
Oh my God,
that's
that's
right next to
sick.
its prostate. I don't even know if they have a prostate, but you get what I mean. And if that makes you uncomfortable, here's an ad to give you time to mentally prepare for what's next. This adorable little guy is known as a basket star. It's a type of brittle star and an echinoderm, which actually makes it a close cousin of the sea cucumber. If you ever learned about fractals in geometry, then that's why the repeating pattern of branching arms might look familiar.
This is kind of cool.
It's also why the US is really wasting $20 billion a year looking into space, because the real ET is happening right here. Because of the unsightly way basket stars get from A to B, they've also earned the nickname sea snakes. I feel itchy all of a sudden. However, even though it looks like something Lucifer would use to pleasure himself, they eat mostly zooplankton and are pretty much harmless for the most part. And honestly, that pretty much describes 80% of the nonsense in the deep sea, only really harmful to your peace of mind. Like take the frilled shark. Having been around for 80-something million years, not only is the frilled shark a living fossil, it's likely nature's rough draft beta version of sharks today. Also, don't let this video fool you. They can grow to a respectable 6 feet.
Like a pig.
Also, they can be pregnant for 3.5 years, which honestly makes about as much sense as everything else down there. And in terms of your mental health, the frilled shark is pretty harmless until you look them in the mouth. The devil's fleshlight has hundreds of needle-like teeth to ensure that anything that gets caught in there doesn't get a second chance to pursue happiness.
That's crazy.
And for a shark that's been around long enough to have attended Saturn's wedding, I don't know why, but every picture of them looks like they're struggling with their own existence. Like I said though, they're not a threat to humans. But like I also said, therapy ain't cheap, so if you don't want to end up on a couch, don't look a frilled shark in the mouth. But yeah, you'd be surprised at just how many types of sharks you'll find in the same neighborhood SpongeBob got stranded in that one time. You have 20-foot sleeper sharks that are somehow able to use stealth to just spawn and inhale sustenance like a water Kirby. Speaking of sleepers, in 2015, a Pacific sleeper was recorded in the Solomons Island. Why is that important? Well, its home address was right under an active volcano, proving that if any animal had plot armor, it'd be sharks. Then you have the ghost shark, which, okay, yep, you got me, isn't an actual shark, it's a close cousin known as a chimera. The ghost part though, that's on brand. They kind of remind me of the dry bones fish from Mario. The ghost Nada shark doesn't even have the teeth you'd expect it to have, but instead they have plates that they use to grind up food. But since nature's constantly overcompensating, chimeras do have venomous spines that are harmful to more than just your mental well-being. But by far the weirdest thing about them, chimeras have a tenaculum on their forehead. A tenaculum is a reproductive organ, meaning this fish has a on his forehead. Venom.
Yeah, dickhead.
That aside, this fish fresh out of Tim Burton's Wet Dream is actually pretty cool looking. And I'm just gonna say it, I think they're cute, and I'm perfectly fine with standing on that hill alone. However, I don't think you'll find a single soul on this next shark's hill.
Feast your eyes on the goblin shark, a demon dog-looking fish with a mouth that snaps like nobody's business. They're rarely seen but are known to live in oceans all around the world, at depths of up to 4,200 feet below the surface of the ocean, and are estimated to get to 18 feet long, which is really big for a deep sea shark. You might have seen videos online of their jaws just fully ejecting from their brain case in a process called slingshot feeding. It's kind of what they're known for. Their upper and lower jaws lunge forward away from the skull, engulfing their prey. I know it probably seems ridiculous and almost alien, but it's actually not uncommon. Most fishes have jaws that aren't entirely attached. One might argue that the goblin shark is the most extreme example of this look, until you see a video of the sling jaw wrasse, who use suction feeding to snatch up their prey. They look like they have a trombone stuck in their mouth. Goblin sharks have a particularly long snout, and it's not for nothing. They have sensory structures, pores all over it, that help them locate their prey, like squid, fish, and crustaceans. And I am personally grateful I am not a squid, fish, or crustacean.
Yeah, goblin's the right word for the only
No,
shark
I'm
in the
grateful
world
I
that is
don't-
eating gummies.
I
We
didn't
gotta
end up
admit,
as a fish in
eating
the
your own
ocean.
jaw to catch calories is pretty metal.
What?
You're gonna find that a lot of the creatures
So much
rolling in the
weird
deep
shit
have
down
evolved
there.
some of the most creative ways of bagging
Why
fish.
he's biting somebody?
Probably the most popular is the fish that nearly turned Nemo into an orphan.
I used to be so
Anglerfish
scared
has
of that when I was a
two defining
kid.
personality traits, and one of them is that fishing lure hanging right in front of those life-canceling jaws. That light actually comes from bioluminescent bacteria shacking up inside a modified fin. So when a bite-sized light work swims up to the light thinking it just cops some easy protein, the angler ensures that some fish out there never sees its father again. The other thing anglerfish got clout for is their mating habits. I'm not gonna get into it, just know that if
That
your
shit
bear
looks
puts
menacing,
anything
bro.
theirs,
Looks
you're gonna need
evil.
both a divorce and a restraining order. And you know what? Intensive therapy on top of that, extra friggin' viciously. Nemo's paralysis demon isn't the only deep-sea creature to weaponize light. This distinguished gentleman is known as the stoplight loosejaw, and his defining trait is that it uses a red light to hunt, which turns out to be a massive cheat code, since the longer the wavelength of a color, the less energy that wavelength has. Why red light can't reach the deep sea, and the animals living in the abyss that are red actually appear black, which makes it easier for them to hide from predatory smoke. But with the stoplight using red as a searchlight, it's pretty much cracked at this version of hide and seek. Not to mention, since most of the life down there can't even see red,
That shit looks
it's
cool.
able to catch bodies while also not giving up its location to predators or the prey it packs up. This fish
That's
really evolved
crazy.
the whole wall hack and a real-life invisibility cloak. Tell me that ain't crazy. And that freakish overbite ensures that once prey is found, it's lost forever. But why hunt prey when you could just sit and wait for it to come to you? That's the entire playbook for the deep sea lizardfish. Just look at that smile. You know he's on nefarious timing. And at over 2 feet long, they earned the title of being one of the premier apex predators of the deep sea. As a habitual camper, they lie waiting for life to pass them by before they lunge and use hypodermic needles for teeth to cancel it. And with apex standing for anyone providing smoke gets extinguished, lizardfish don't hesitate to turn their own kind into coffin fodder. And with the whole point of those teeth being to hold struggling, panicking prey in place, they make sure they don't live long enough to learn from their mistake. But as much of a therapy build as Gecko Guppy's mugshot might be, it might not even be the worst headshot in the ocean. Not as long as this is still a predator. I don't know anyone who would waste the oxygen trying to defend this.
I would. Many say this is a face only a mother can love.
the
Well,
old
maybe
man.
He is my son. This is the deep sea telescope fish, one of the most stunning creatures of the deep tropical oceans. They're found at depths of about 1,600 to 6,600 feet below the surface of the ocean. I can't say that normally. Surface of the ocean. And like you'll see if you look up photos of them online, they are often photographed at unfortunate angles that don't do them any justice. They orient themselves upwards, hanging out vertically in the water column, as they use their specially adapted eyes to hunt for the silhouettes of their prey. There are two species of telescope fish, Gigantora indica and Gigantora chuni. Don't be fooled by their genus name, which makes them sound like they're gigantic. That is not the case at all. Indica only gets to about 8 inches long and chuni a measly 6. They are just little guys. Gigantora actually translates to big tail, specifically. They are about half tail. But if they happen to latch onto a snack that's a bit bigger than their own size, that's no problem at all. They underwent a series of skeletal reductions that allow for more room to just fold it in half. That's right. They are expert folders. In 1925, scientists found a 5.5-inch long viperfish inside the stomach of a 3-inch long telescope fish. They described it as neatly folded, an incredible quality possessed by the lovely telescope fish.
Yeah, I'm sure if we gave it Blistex and a hairline restoration surgery, he'd be cute, but that's just me. That being said, there's a lot of pretty dope things just chilling in the deep. Take the barreled-eyed fish, the fish with a transparent head that means it can spot ops or prey directly above it, thanks to those 2 green gummy-looking orbs that are actually its eyes. Or the ultra-rare giant phantom jellyfish, equipped with 30-foot arms that makes this ET understudy the length of a whale shark. And when I say rare, I mean this jelly's only been seen like 100 times in the history of mankind.
Something
The fact that
Kanye made.
you're watching this right now, it's kind of wild. Then you have the deep-sea Dumbo
Easy
octopus
material.
that copes with stress by turning itself into a ball to discourage predators from eating it. And if this right here looks familiar, yeah, right to his thighs. The vampire squid does the inverse, as they'll turn themselves inside out and into their own personal panic room whenever they're pressed by a possible predator. And how about a sea pig for you? Take everything I said about sea cucumbers and forget it for a second, because honestly, they're just really cute in a way I can't fully explain. But it's not hard to see what makes this squid instant serotonin. Rosia pacifica, or the stubby squid, is actually more like a cuttlefish. It's also a cuddly fish, and it's nature's apology letter for the sheer trauma it's saturating the ocean with. It's actually real, and those arts and crafts looking eyes help it catch prey on a nocturnal schedule. It's also important as an environmental indicator, since scientists will often study their responses to changes in water pH and use that to determine how polluted the water is around them, which you would think would earn this anime octopus the respect of the scientific community. Well, you'd be wrong. There's a video where some science scientists found one, and let me just say, not even Hiroshima got roasted that hard. But that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you go ahead and drink water, hug your moms, go subscribe to Lindsay's channel, link will be in the description. Shout out to Lindsay for being in this video, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Peace! So does that make you want to go swimming deep in the ocean?
No.
No? Would you swim in the ocean?
The ocean's just weird. Like, you could literally take a step. You stepping on the wrong animal, you're done for.
You're like a stingray? You're
like
getting hit.
anything, like that little blue ring octopus, anything.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
A blobfish that looks like a fucking rock. You step on anything, bro, it's over.
So one day, when we move to Hawaii, are you gonna learn how to surf?
No.
No? Why? I thought you was a good swimmer and stuff like that. Oh, you're scared now.
I'm scared of the ocean.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
A little bit?
But I'm not scared to go swimming.
So you'll swim in the ocean?
If it wasn't too deep out.
Okay. Oh yeah, surfing is way too deep to be out.
Yeah.
Surfing is cool. I want to learn how to surf, but
I'm not getting sucked in those waves.
Yeah, right?
I'm trying to live my life.
Well, look, that's the video. Let us know what you guys want us to react to. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. We catch you on the next video.